Welcome back, Jazz fan, Jazzed Fans TV. Clean sweep week. We did it. We didn't think it was going to happen, and we couldn't be happier that it did.
Especially on the road.
4 woo! Absolutely. 4 road wins. Inferior opponents for 3 of the 4, but we took care of business, and we haven't been taking care of business, and you know how upset I get when we lose games that we should win.
You know what also is awesome?
What's awesome?
I did this.
Ooh, Carson did a thing.
That is a Donovan Mitchell rookie card. I'm actually not going to have it up because the lights going off of it probably look weird on camera. But I'm excited about that. So stoked.
Donovan Mitchell rookie card in the house, and it's rated 10.
It is.
That's a good rating from what I've been told by Carson.
It's not out of 100. It's actually out of 10. So that is the best rating.
100%, if you will.
But I mean, this freaking week, man.
Couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Even after the Celtics win, I was like, well, Detroit loss incoming. But I would have been happy with 3-1. I was like, good, we beat the Celtics. We've won 3 games. And then they just cherry on top, 4 for 4.
We're not playing the best teams, as you already mentioned. We didn't play the best teams. But I will say this. There was a return to defense. We held the Celtics to 94 points, and we'll get into all of that. But that's what we're asking for. Even if we lose games that we're holding them to around 104, 105 points, if you lose those games, you had a bad shooting night. I'm really, really happy with what I saw this week. Seemed like a commitment from everybody. But you want to just get into Cavs?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like this was our weakest game of the 4, and I think one theme that I noticed looking over the 4 games, it felt like the team got progressively better as the week went on. So even though we won against the Cavs, it was the least impressive win, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was the nice thing was, and it's kind of a seesawing back and forth from game to game of whether the starters had the better of the game or the
bench?
The subs. Yeah. And this game was all starters, everybody in double digits. Royce had himself a 3-point night. He hit 4 for 6. I mean, it was all around just big from all of them.
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Honestly, 4 for 6 from 3-point range from Royce O'Neal. For someone who was lauded as being our defensive shutdown presence, he's actually gotten really good at the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Much better than Georges Niang, in my opinion.
He is not a better 3-point shooter than Niang.
He's this game. Look at the sample.
He is a better player. Actually, I do want to see what his 3-point percentage. He is almost shooting at a 40% clip.
That's not bad.
That is very, very good. And let's just compare that to Niang.
We don't need to.
Let's just go ahead and compare that to Niang.
That's George's
41.7.
So barely.
Well, yeah. I think George probably
just barely.
I think he's probably shot
a lot
more threes.
Yeah, sure. That's the only thing he's supposed to be
able
to do.
That might not be true, actually. That might not be true.
Royce all day.
Royce has actually been hitting them. I remember one of the comments that I saw. I can't remember against which game. I brought it up on a recap already, but somebody was just, who is Royce O'Neal? And why does he have the ball in the most important possession of the game? And why is he making it?
That's a good callback. I like that.
Yeah. I super impressed with him. Super impressed with the whole team.
Yeah.
Another big one, and we're talking a return to normalcy. We dip again a little bit later, but he didn't have an insane rebounding game, but Rudy with another 20, 8 for 9, looked really active. 5 blocks.
Yeah.
I mean,
one of these days, Rudy's going to get the 5 for 5. I believe it.
You think he's going to get 5 assists?
Yeah. One of these games, he's going to have 5 blocks, 5 assists, 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals. He's going to do the 5 for 5.
No, he's not.
I believe.
Maybe
a 4 for 5.
I feel like, yeah, I don't know about the
5 for 5. You heard it here first.
Ye
of little faith.
I don't know about them steals. I feel like it has to be of like one of those. Somebody to do that has to be one of those like guard power forward hybrids like LeBron or Ingram.
You know, Andre Karolinko did it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Somebody like that, I can't see.
The 5 steals will probably never happen. Listen, a boy can dream.
Yeah, that's crazy. He did have 2 steals that game, though. Just a little bit more.
I'm just saying, one game, things could happen for him. He is the best.
Yeah,
I'm repping him today.
He was a shutout that game for me.
Yeah.
Really good game. Ooh, again, weirdly, though, not a double-double, which you almost just
He
mark
usually
it as a double-double.
By the end of the first half, usually sometimes. Yeah. Like, there's been many games, like, in the first half, they're like, well, he's already got his double-double. Like, and that it didn't happen, surprisingly.
And the other thing that I'll say for another player, if we want to highlight him, is Joe Ingles. 8 assists.
That's a lot. I like that.
Which Conley's also his assists are going up, but Joe putting in 8 is, can we get him to run the second unit? Can he be the facilitator? Obviously, Clarkson can be the scorer. If we can get him and Bradley clicking a little bit the way that him and Rudy can, as far as like finishing at the rim and the layoffs, we finally start going to a really positive place going into the final stretch of the season.
100%.
Really excited.
On to the Knicks.
On to the Knicks.
Again, a little bit better of a win, but also almost a throw-out game. Because this is right in the meltdown of the Knicks and Spike Lee and all of that. So, like, people were leaving. The energy was just bad. If there was a Knicks team that was, like, puppy dog sad, we got them. Like,
fans getting kicked out for chanting, sell the team.
Sell the team. Like, it did not go well for the Knicks. Like, it's not like one we're like, hey, we're happy we got this win. But, like, no one's, like, proud.
Yeah. No. The only thing, again, return to defense. They did not have asterisks. It's the Knicks. You've already laid the groundwork there. But
still, 104 points to the Knicks feels like a lot.
They didn't. This is my thing.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I mean, they have players, but you're not wrong. And they did have a late surge. I actually just went back and watched all the highlights, which has kind of been a theme for this week, which gives my heart a little bit of a palpitation, a little pause. But they didn't have looking at it here in the box score, they didn't have a quarter over 30, which is something that I had been railing against. It's like we have one quarter where a team will score under 30, and then every other GD quarter, any team we play, they're getting over 30. So I'll give them that. They limited them every quarter. Their big one was 28 in the second. So kudos, Los Yaz on that as well.
And again, kind of a top to bottom win, but this one was a little bit more about the second unit than the first unit.
You think? I was thinking more of the first unit because we had 23 from
there was just so many contributors in the second unit in this game. It felt, I mean, I know no one really stands out, but you have 8 points from both Joe Ingles and Bradley. This was a great game for Bradley. He was everywhere he needed to be. I really like that. Then you had 7 points from Clark. Like, let's see how many bench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench contributors. O'Neal had a poor game. And I honestly, listen, for my standards, I don't feel like Donovan Mitchell controlled the game as he could.
Yeah.
In the highlights that I saw, like, it's hard. Like, this is why the bench, when I watched a lot of this game, actually, and it just felt like the bench controlled the game. And I don't know if it was like we were strategically trying to rest starters. They had good numbers, but it didn't feel like Donovan was giving the Donovan effort. I could be wrong.
I don't think you're that wrong. I think it's another. I think they're still trying different things out because if you look, he still had a 23, which is
nice.
His average, I think,
and 8 assists, which is a lot. That's great.
That's what I was about to highlight. Is he's also, and I said this a couple weeks ago as well, I think he's working on getting people more integrated. You see Steph come back and have the behind the back pass.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't expect that because that's insane. But I think Donovan Mitchell, unless it's a lack of vision, he has the athleticism, he has the baseball background. He should be getting more assists, and I think you're going to start seeing him integrating that into his game. I think you're going to start seeing more frequent double-doubles from him as well.
I would love to start seeing that, honestly. From the bottomest of my heart, I would love to see that.
Yeah, he didn't have, the best shooting game, but he did get other people involved, like you said. And
again, and the thing, I know it's weird to harp on, but 1 for 7 from 3. Do you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have a great, but he still got his 23 points. And so, as I'm watching that game, he played well, but it wasn't like a Donovan is taking over or he played good, but wasn't great.
He finished well at the rim.
Yeah, he finished well at the rim.
And
That's
his
a good way of
mid-range
saying that.
is
Sure.
But yeah, him and Royce, they both took combined shot 2 for 14.
That's not great.
After that, you both had a great game. So
and that's why I feel like the bench as a whole contributed. There was no one that really stood out because they were all playing so much.
Right.
We played a deep team.
Right.
We played 10 deep? No, 11. Brantley didn't score, but we played 11. I'm sorry.
Either.
We played 12 players.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from as far as like we just played deep.
Yeah. And I mean, most of them contributed. I mean, Oni and Brantley got a minute and a half.
Sure.
Brantley didn't even get a shot off. Oni missed 2 shots, but it's like.
But 30 minutes from Ingles, 21 from Clarkson, and Bradley 14. That's a lot for Bradley. That's too much for me on most nights, but I'll take it. That was his best game of the week in my opinion.
Yeah. I actually don't think it's too much. I need him to start doing favors minutes. Not quite there. I need the production to justify it.
Okay.
We need that one. I freak out that Rudy's going to get injured. He's so long. If you give him more opportunities to get injured, it's possible it could happen. We need I think our biggest weakness this year, we talked about it, and I think you convinced me of this. Our biggest weakness is losing Derek Favors. We don't have somebody that ties the second unit as a big, like where we would take him off first, like you said last year.
Yeah.
We would take him off, and then we would bring him immediately back on once Rudy went off, once we got through the rotation. He tied in the rest of the team. He gave us a starter on the bench. I need Bradley to do things like that. I don't expect him to be Derek Favors, but we need that off the bench, in my opinion.
100%.
Anybody else stands out? Not really.
Not
It was
really.
a pretty good game from everybody offensively, but Royce on the first unit. We've got 18 from Gobert, 23 from Mitchell, 23 from Bogdanovich, and 17 from Conley, and then, like I said, 3 from Royce. That's good numbers from everybody.
Sure,
it's gonna
consistent.
Be really, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of sharing. Really, really good game. On to the Celtics.
Let's do it. Impressive win. Statement win.
Yep.
They're a top 4 team in the East. They're beating people. They just beat our brains out.
Walker came back.
That's another reason why we just should have won. We should have won in the Delta Center. Or the Vivint Smart Home Arena.
Delta Center.
That's true. I am right.
You're not changing our childhood. It's the Delta Center forever.
I'm reverting back to my childhood. Just know that.
Unless that puts us in a bad light and you won't let us film on that property, then
Vivint Smart Home it
Vivint
is.
Smart, and I'll get it tattooed across my chest.
Please don't.
If it means
It'll change.
it'll change. This one, this is kind of a game where I think Rudy's been figured out a little bit. And again, like we talked about last week, I think they're working it out. They'll figure out different ways to make him effective. But the 2 games that we've played them, obviously Tatum's going to get his points, but somebody that I knew nothing about that I have been super impressed with is Thies. The first game, like the stat sheet didn't jump out at you, but he had putback dunks with 4 Jazz men around him in the first game that we played him. And important times of the game when we were making a comeback. And then this game, 12 points from him and 9 rebounds. He beat Rudy in both of those categories. Rudy's only got 7 and 9.
Yeah.
So, and he's a smaller forward. He's super effective, but we mitigated it, and Conley came up big.
This was a huge game for Conley. This was a game that, for all the people worried about Conley, it's got to make you feel better. Really good opponent, really good guard play from the opponent. And Conley played really, really well.
Yep.
He was cutting. He was slashing. He had some really nice quickness to him.
Yep.
That I noticed. And I was just like, okay, Conley. I see what you're playing with.
And it seemed like when he had went the stretch where it was he wasn't shooting well from 3, and then he got injured, and then he would like start the game off. He kind of stopped shooting from 3, and that took the element out of the game. 6 for 10 here. He's shooting 10 threes. We don't need that every game, obviously. But the fact that we can get it, really, really happy with. And still 5 assists, got rebounds. He looked active on defense. Really happy with it so far.
And this one switches back more of the starters predominantly were the reason that we won as opposed to a full team effort. It felt like the starters really, really played well in this game.
And again,
me.
And again, though, but I mean, if you look at the bench,
I know.
And they were really effective.
Yeah.
Their plus minuses were really high. And when I was watching the highlights back, I mean, you've got 9 from Ingles, not super effective shooting. Like he missed, he wasn't really driving, which I don't love from Ingles. But then Clarkson was 17, Tony Bradley was 6.
But again, Ingles 7 rebounds, 6 assists.
Yeah, like
getting stuff done. Like if Ingles truly can be a guy that can get everything done and not just have to score, he really can head up the second unit.
If those were his averages, I would be happy.
Can I just get 10 points? Can we get to double points? I'd be way happy with that.
Let's do average 10, Joe. Let's get those up a bit. But I mean, like other than that, like 3 steals is nuts, 6 assists, 7 rebounds off the bench, man, is big.
Yeah.
And again, I think it just shows how much of a professional Joe is. When everybody was clamoring, and there was that, what game was it where there was the huge argument of, oh, Conley's to the bench, and then there was a flip, and it's like, oh, actually Joe's on the bench. Do you remember what? I don't remember offhand.
It was, hold on. That one I can field. Hold on. I think it was the Celtics game. I really do think it was the Celtics game.
The first, okay.
At home.
February 26th.
I was like, we're going to lose this game. Yeah. It was the Celtics game. I'm 99% sure.
So belief in yourself, being humble, and believing in each other. Everybody was freaking out like, oh, this team's falling apart. They're clearly not. There's stuff to figure out. I mean, we have weaknesses. Nobody's saying we don't. But if Joe can do that, if Conley can do that, this is exactly what we built the team for. And it didn't work at the beginning of the season. We're starting to figure some things out. I think it's really positive and selfless act from Joe to go. Because I guess we don't know, but allegedly he had went into Quinn Snyder and said, put me on the bench.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Everybody, as we said before, calm down. Let's not get too high either right now.
No.
Let's see this next week coming up, and we'll get into it in a little bit. It's going to be a bigger test, but it was a positive week. You want to do Pistons?
Pistons. I was really worried of a loss. We got the third wins. It's a back-to-back. I don't care how bad a team is. When you're playing on a back-to-back on the road, a win is a good win. Every win's a good win. And we played really well. It was tied in the fourth quarter at 79 apiece. I remember him thinking, okay, this is the point when we're going to let it slip. And they didn't. They stepped on them. They got it back up to like 12 points and rode it home. And I was really proud of them.
Yeah.
Even though, like, to your detriment, well, to your credit of the detriment, in the second half, the Pistons scored over 30 points both games, or both quarters.
Yeah.
In the second half.
Yeah, if they wouldn't have had that 17 first quarter, it gets kind of into danger territory. But
yeah.
And this is another one where the starters came up big, everybody but Royce.
Bogdanovich. This was a bogey game.
This is the other thing. Even when Royce isn't being effective on like the points totals, if you go back and watch too, like the other thing that I've been impressed with him, even when we were losing last week, his cutting and then dishing back out, he's being more effective with that too, where we had been giving a lot of turnovers over. I think a lot of that was Royce a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It seems like he's been a lot more effective where he'll come right at the elbow and he'll come in, he'll get the ball, he'll either dish it back out or try to find somebody down low. And so, I mean, he still had good amount of rebounds. He had 4 assists, still being effective. But like you just said with the old bicep slap,
sure,
Bogdanovich is the guy at this game.
Dude, crushed it, man. He was just all over the place. And he's another person that, like, it would be nice to get him to be like a super Joe Ingles, just getting rebounds, getting assists, but if he's going to purely score and get us 32 and keep the heat off of Conley and Mitchell, I'm okay with that too. He doesn't have to do everything, but I truly believe that if the Jazz are going to be successful, Bogdanovich has to be scoring. Because if he's scoring and the defense is like, shoot, we have to be worried about Bogdanovich, Conley and Mitchell will be able to tear apart. Mm-hmm. And when Bogdanovich isn't scoring, that makes it a lot more tricky for us.
I agree wholeheartedly. We don't expect him 32 every night, but man, he seems when we need one, he oftentimes is the guy that shows up and does put up 32. Conley hasn't done it as much. He did it against the Celtics, and God bless him for it. But this game where we maybe needed a little extra push, Bogdanovich, really, really good output. My only thing if I just want to say like one takeaway, it was a little bit better this week, and I was talking to somebody online about this. It always just seems like two guys go off, and then either other people either have okay games or terrible games.
Yeah.
It seems like it's getting better. There was some obviously good ones, but it's like this game kind of gets scary where we could have lost this one if you're only getting 13 and 25. Those are your two highest point totals, and everybody else is just getting past the double-digit mark. Like, that gets...
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's atypical. I don't think Royce is usually going to go over.
No.
But the other thing that I just want to emphasize with Bogdanovic is when we need somebody to slow the game down, instead of getting a timeout, he's driving to the rim and he's getting free throws. And he's an insane free throw shooter.
5 for 5.
Freaking love it.
5 for the fight.
Anything else jumps out to you on this?
Not a lot. It was a solid win. Watching it, I mean, we were in control of the game for pretty much the whole way. They came back, but it never felt like it was out of hand, and it was good. I clapped to myself from the Wise Guys Lounge when I saw the victory. I was like, we did it. 4 in a row. 5 in a row. 4 in a row.
Yeah. And honestly, like, the Celtics game was one of the best games of the year for us.
Sure.
It was up there with like the Pelicans games.
Yeah.
And then I was super happy to get a win there, but it was back and forth the whole time. But overall, just great week. Return to defense. It wasn't against the best teams, but you kind of need that to get back into rhythm. 100%. I think we're in a good place. And let's just go right into Player of the Week.
Player of the Week, the most consistent Player of the Week. It wasn't for going off, but it was getting it done every game. Mike Conley. Really proud of Mountain Mike. Had a great week, and it renewed some of my faith while it was shaken.
Yeah, it was a vindication, I think, of this hopefully isn't the end product.
No, I'd like more than what's happening, but this is good. It feels like cohesion, and he played really well.
Yeah.
And he got us that Celtics win.
It's weird that now nobody's talking about how also that they're not getting along and Mitchell and Gobert aren't getting along and stuff like that. It's like,
it's amazing when you win, no one talks about that.
I just hate people creating narratives.
Yeah, that's the worst.
We've pounded this drum for weeks now. We did say last week we lost a little faith after that week, or those 2 weeks in a row, but these guys have earned enough to give it a little bit more rope, and they showed it again this week.
Absolutely.
And again, we're not going to get too high. It was some rough teams in there, but the Celtics win is big.
The Celtics win makes the other wins look legitimate.
Yep.
If we would have been blown out by the Celtics, we'd have been like, great, so we can beat shitty teams. But the Celtics kind of sews it all together, and it's like, no, we can beat anyone. And we did beat everyone.
And then the other big thing, let's talk about this, is all the teams around us were losing too.
Yes!
Yeah, buddy.
That makes me happy. Rockets. FTR all the way.
And the Nuggets lost to the Cavs.
Yes.
So for us, everybody's saying, well, it's just the Cavs. And I thought it's like maybe they didn't have their starters. All their starters played.
And
I think Millsap even played.
Did he?
I think he's back.
That's not
There's
good.
no way to know that.
It's okay. We lost to, when other teams lose to teams that they should beat, it helps us.
Yep.
And we've officially, we don't even have to knock on wood, but we've officially gotten 500. 41 wins. So we can't finish below 500.
Hell yeah.
Winning season. Guaranteed. We did not have a losing season, so we're right here.
Yeah, buddy.
And I think if we clean sweep this week, I think we clinch playoffs. I could be wrong.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But I'm just saying, this week we could clinch a playoff berth just because the 9 seed is so far away. I believe we're 14 games off. If we win all of them, then we're like 10 and we're like 10. Yeah. If we clean sweep this week, we clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, there's some tough games.
I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's in our grasp, Jazz. This is where we can actually start making statements and being like, okay, the Jazz are someone you have to worry about in the West. Because as of right now, no one's talking about us.
We talked about this at work a little bit with some of your people on your team, but Let's ask you now after we had this full week. Gun to your head.
3 seed.
Do we have a better record than last year?
Yes.
Do you think by one game, or do you think it's going to be...
Now, come on, now you're
I was thinking, you said 3 seed?
The answer is yes.
You said 3 seed, so
we are going to get into the 50s. And we won 50 last year, right?
I thought it was 51, but you might...
I thought we were right on 50. Maybe it was 51. But I do think we will get into the 50s. And I can see us in the 3 seed. I just believe in it.
Good, because 4 seed right now is right back to the Rockets, and
I don't want that.
Yeah, you've got me on board of wanting no piece of that.
No, not at all.
We did have 50. You're right.
Yep, right on the button.
So if we want to get, dude, how the Trailblazers have fallen, man.
They got 53 wins last year. That's crazy to me.
They're not gonna make the playoffs.
No, I don't think they're making the playoffs at this point.
Who do you think's?
I think it's Memphis.
You think it is?
I don't think anyone's catching them, man. I think they're gonna do it.
They're putting up some
I can't believe it. We were like bottom 3 team in the West. They're tanking, and they're gonna. It fills my heart with joy. It really does.
They even traded people off.
They got Crowder out of here. Iguodala. Ingles. Who am I?
Yeah, they kicked Crowder to the curb too, and you're just they're punting.
Yeah.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Oh my gosh.
What?
The Spurs are in the 12th place.
And they keep beating our ass. And I don't bring up the Spurs. I looked at that and it made me so mad.
Tottenham Hotspurs.
How they dominate us. They're terrible.
I don't know, man.
They have by 20 points. They're beating our brains out. I was in a good mood.
The Suns is still worse to me than the Spurs. I'm blown away by that. But
we still have a Spurs home and home coming up. Great.
Do you think? Yeah, man. It looks like it's too far. I don't see how.
There's 10 more wins on that list.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We're gonna get to 51.
We didn't when we were having that discussion. We didn't have those 4 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is. I think we do it. I don't know if we do it by a substantial margin, but I think that we do beat our record from last year. Is there anybody that you see making movement into the 8th seed at all?
No.
I'm just trying to get overall playoff picture because I want to see where we're.
You're trying to create some sort of a argumentative discussion. I'm not falling
no,
for
I'm
it.
not.
No, Memphis 8th seed.
Kings?
Answer no.
I really want the Pelicans too.
FTK.
The only reason I really ask is because I do want the Pelicans in the
Ja
playoffs.
Morant, man.
I want favors there.
I know, but it's not going to happen.
It isn't.
They're too far away now.
They are 4.5 games.
And guess
no, 3.5.
Are they? Oh, is it only 3.5 now?
Yeah.
I thought it was the same amount as it was when I.
3.5.
But
between them and the Kings, it is 4.5 of the Pelicans.
Yeah, 4.5 of the
Pelicans.
For the Pelicans,
you're right.
And when Zion came back, how many games were they down?
I don't remember.
4.5. So that's why I don't think so. Because since Zion's come back, they have gained no ground. And that if it was 2 games or even 3 games, maybe yeah. But I honestly had looked at that already.
Plus, they're going to lose to us.
But Memphis will as well.
They're trashing the Timberwolves.
They're trashing the Timberwolves.
So this week's going to be interesting.
Another 4-game week. That's 8 games in 14 days. That's a lot.
We're supposed to have, out of the next 5 games, we're supposed to have 4 at home. Don't ruin this coronavirus, you some bitch.
That's true. 4 out of 5. Good for us.
We want to have people to talk to. We love talking to the fans. And first off, how do you feel about Toronto?
Not good. I want us to win. It's going to be a big test. We're riding high. We're resting today. We can win it, but I would not be mad if we lost.
I think we win this game.
Wow.
I think the tricky games for us are Oklahoma and the Grizzlies. Because
I think it's the Pelicans. This is the first time we're going to see Zion, man. I think Zion could do work.
I think he could too. But usually we limit the bigs, and the guys that go off are the guards. Yeah. So if Drew Holiday doesn't have a huge game, Lonzo, knock on wood, is never going to have a big game.
Yeah.
So as long as the guards aren't going for 30, I think this is a game that we can win. Now, our most intense games that we've had this year two of maybe the top 4 have been against the Pelicans that have come down to the wire.
Sure.
They've had one where they've beat us at the buzzer. The other one where they had that shout for, it was the one that Rudy fouled Ingram at the.
I remember.
So you're right, though. This one could get really hairy. I just have a feeling Memphis is going to try to grab onto the 8th seed and still just hold on to it. And then we might be getting ready for a Lakers home and home. So, and we're going to be on a back-to-back.
Yeah, we are on a back-to-back.
It's a hard one.
Well, what's your prediction on the week then, Captain?
I'm going to say 2-2.
Wow. I'm going to say 3-1.
We switched.
3-1. I think we're going to lose to the Raptors and then win the next 3.
I would love that. I don't hate that at all.
I would like that a lot. I think we're going to lose. But if we can beat the Raptors and we get a loss to play with, I'm okay with that too. 3-1.
I think that's it. I think we did
I think that's it. We're going to be interviewing, God willing, 3 times this week. Come out and see us. We'll bring the limes.
Yes. Everybody just be healthy and safe out there. Everything's fine. We would love to talk to you still, regardless. And let's just go out and support the Jazz, man. It's looking up. And like Paul said, let's get the 3 seed. I think that's an admirable goal at this point.
Attainable. 53 wins, 3 seed. Let's go.
We said one last. Are we over the Nuggets or the Clippers?
Nuggets. I think Clippers finish the 2.
Nuggets.
Absolutely. Nuggets.
I think the Lakers and the Clippers are playing tonight too.
That would be
excited
nice.
for that one. But anyways, thanks for coming out, guys.
Have a great one. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.